At first we don't succeed, you try again, Phil. Yeah, that's what we were always brought up. You and I were brought up with that.
Well, in the words of Curly Howard from the Three Stooges, if at first you don't succeed, keep on sucking till you do succeed. I remember that from Curly. That's a good one. All right, I think we're, I can see you. I know you can't see up there, there's a little delay.
Okay.
But yeah, we're back, everybody. So,
Hi, folks. We took a break, and it wasn't a bathroom break, actually. We did.
Oh, be honest. Yeah, I don't know if we're having an issue with Wi-Fi or what. Normally that's what's going on here when there's an issue with Wi-Fi, but I thought we'd come back because we were talking about the saltwater scene, Danny. We'd already talked about your trip to the Eastern Sierra. I'll highly recommend you go back and listen to part one of Danny's show today because we're in two parts. We lost our video through the other one. Everybody could hear us, but they couldn't see us. And we want you to see Danny's smiling face here.
Here we go.
And then we were talking about all kinds of great stuff. One thing you were talking about starting with heavy line when you're fishing offshore fish and then going down. And you were talking about holding that fish closer to the boat and then all the other fish are closer. So I've never heard that before and it makes perfect sense. It's so logical. It's like when you're winding up a sand bass on the flats and you got 10 chasers, they hang around those hooked fish, don't they? And I surmise that it's the same thing for the offshore.
Oh, yeah.
So the closer you keep them to the boat, the more fish you're gonna hang and catch.
And if you unbutton a fish, you know, and it's closer to the boat, they're still going to be staged close because the chum's going to hold those things around. So
Yeah.
you keep them to a tighter radius, and in the long run, you know, that's a good thing for everybody, you know. So I always encourage that with my charter groups, you know, if they could start heavier. And a lot of times, you know, by the time I was coming down the wheelhouse and I'm watching the kids on the bait tank and I'm looking at the way the fish are showing with the boils, I will tell them right off the way, go to 40, go to heavier line. You know, this is like Albert's, you know. I would make those calls for them because you know.
You've seen it before, you
right,
know.
When you and you know, the great part is with your experienced groups, they understand what I'm talking about is you are keeping them to a tighter radius with a heavier line because you're fishing heavier drag, and inevitably it keeps you in a better bite. Right? It makes sense. And if you unbutton a fish and if it's close to the boat, all those other fish that are around are still within that zone that you're chumming, and that's holding them around too. So the one that you hooked and unbuttoned, he may swim off, but if you're keeping all the rest of them tight with the chum, you know, in that tighter radius area, you're actually responsible as a passenger on the boat. It keeps, you know, you're responsible for helping build that bite if you keep that mentality, you know.
Nobody's ever explained that to passengers, though. That's something that that a captain should explain to them.
Yeah, you know, well, my groups pretty much do that because I would tell them, you know, what line if I tell them fish the heavy line, let's go, you know, pull the light stuff out, you know, or judging at the size of the fish too. I mean, I would make those determinations right away, and that would help your you know your fish count. You know, but it helps keep those fish, like I say, to a tighter radius of the boat. So even if you lose one, you know, the fish that are swimming around with their other buddies, they're still tight to that area because of the chum that's holding it there. So that's just a concept we always implemented that seemed to work
Yeah.
really well. Yeah.
All right, we'll just keep going through and talking about the hot bites here and getting your impressions on it. Of course, we've talked about the kelp patty yellowtail below San Diego, a little bit of Dorado there. You know what's going off this year, Danny, and biting really well? Mission Bell yesterday, another day at the Coronado Islands, 88 yellowtail. And they've been putting together some big days at the islands. You probably fish those islands a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah. I love fishing everywhere down there, you know. But yeah, that's phenomenal. You know, and it's odd too. You know, what I'm also seeing is, you know, occasionally these guys at certain areas they're whacking the sea bass too. You know, and
You mentioned that, and you're right. The Royal Polaris is heading back on an 8-day trip, and I don't know where he went. I didn't ask. I don't want to know. You know, I don't want to get involved in that. But they pulled into the Baja coast somewhere, caught giant big calicos on the surface iron, and then that goes into a sea bass bite, a really good white sea bass bite on the in Independence. I'm sorry. So the independents pulled in there, and it was just a great bite on the sea bass.
Yeah, you just never know. You never know. But that's absolutely awesome fishing. You just got to go, folks. That's all I can tell you. You know, you can't lose now. This stuff's, you know, it's staged closer. You know, and like typical fishing, there's going to be days when they're down or when it's off. But they're not, I don't think they're going anywhere. You know, the conditions are very conducive, you know, to finish out our season right here, you know. And I think we're going to have another one of those tremendous fall bites. So, you know, don't put your rods away.
Your advice about just go, I mean, that couldn't be more true than when you look at the full day boats out of San Diego. And I'm talking about the San Diego out of Seaforth, the Grande. Those guys, I've seen it happen many times this year. They go out, catch 0 bluefin tuna. Then yesterday, both boats have 30-something bluefin tuna and really great fishing. Who knows what they'll do today, but you can't base tomorrow's fishing on what happened today. It just seems like there's no consistent trend there.
You know, Phil, when I was in college, and I had my produce. I was past the apprentice. I was a journeyman. So I had like one day off, and so on that one day, you know, a buddy of mine, his name is Craig Ogino. He and I grew up from the time we were in kindergarten together. But we fished. We went through the whole process of going through all the tackle, early innovations with no reels, the custom rods, and the whole deal. Craig and I would fish, and his father got me a job at Rouse as a journeyman, as a produce clerk. So by the time I was a senior, I was a journeyman. So I was making, you know, very good money. But I remember one summer when the fishing was down, we said, well, let's just go. We went anyway. And it was absolutely dead by the fish counts. And it was one of the best bites we've ever had. So you just never know. You know, you have to have a line in the water, but you never know what's going to happen. And a lot of that is very true of what happened this year, even with like the yellowtail and stuff around, and the bluefin. You know, they're down. Everybody's scattering all over the place, off the different banks, going north, going south. You know, and we felt bad. We were down below on my 8th day, and we whacked them, but we were down. We were pretty close to Cabo, folks. A long ways from everywhere. Ray worked back as much as he could to see if he could cover from the inside coming up because it was so slow. But it just goes into a down period, and then, you know, the fish pop back up, the bluefin. But now the bluefin are everywhere. So, you know, the whole thing is you're not going to catch them from your living room. You know, you got to be out on the water. And I found that out because in going consistently, you know, some of those days where the bite, when you're a fish count watcher, you know, you go, oh, it's slow. You just don't know. The next day it explodes, and if you're there, yeah, the best day of your life. It's unbelievable. And that's happened to me, you know, many times in years past. And then certainly when I was running boats, you would see things like that. So, yeah, it's all about being in the water, folks. Right place, right time.
That is for sure. Mitchell joins us. He says, what do we have here? Okay, work. Can't wait. Mitchell, always good to see you. Halibut Man is an awesome angler, an awesome guy. Cool. Does a lot for Michael Limon and a lot of other kids. It's good to see you.
They're still getting tremendous halibut fishing, right?
Yeah.
You know, scattered all over, but I mean, it's, you know, at the islands, all over the place.
You know where halibut fishing's been insane is up there in San Francisco Bay Area. Have you seen that? It's just like clockwork, limits of halibut.
That's unreal.
Yeah, and stripers. You know, they catch stripers and halibut. I think Mackey, speaking of Mackey, who Doug Tilk was saying, we better get him here to fix the video. You're right. They do a better job than me. Hey, look who just walked in. Tony, the great manager of 22nd Straight Landing.
What's going on, buddy?
You want to go in there and be on camera?
Not right
You want me
now.
to turn the camera toward you?
Heck no.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Long time no see.
Yeah, where you guys
The
been?
brains of the operation here.
Yeah, no kidding, man.
Where have you been?
I was up
Whoa.
in the Sierra.
That's right.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, we had a family reunion type
Awesome. I haven't been listening, so I don't know what you've told them already.
No big deal.
Hey, what do we have here at beautiful 22nd Street Landing? Can we plug anything? Do we have an open party trip?
You know what? I might be
tonight,
back
or-
in a minute.
Do that, yeah.
That's good.
Come back and bring me a list and we'll read it
I think
off.
we're pretty full this weekend, actually.
Are ya?
Well, that's tremendous.
That's
good.
tremendous.
That's
Yeah, we're
awesome.
going. It's starting to pick up again. So we're
Good.
That's awesome.
Good. Awesome. Tony, good to see
Well, I just
you.
came in here because I heard you guys were in here, and I had to say, "Get out!"
I love
You
it.
can't pull that at noon on us. I love it. Hey, Mitchell says, I was at the island this weekend. Catalina, he's talking about, and caught cuda, bonito, halibut, and copious. I
Yeah,
love
where
it.
you got that term?
Copious amounts of calico. Some guy told me I gotta find a new word, so I've got my thesaurus out. I'm going through it every night now.
Copious
Voluminous.
identifies you right away, Phil.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's perfect.
That slipped out of my mouth one morning, and
Really?
it just, I don't know, I was doing it, and then somebody started making fun of it, and I go, I gotta stay with this, man.
That's
So,
awesome.
way to go. Hey, Mitchell, that sounds like some really fun fishing there at Catalina. We are here at our home, 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro, California. You guys, man, there's so many great boats here, Danny. Freedom, Amigo.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Apollo now has moved down to Seaforth, but he's here. You've got the Native Sun, the Monte Carlo. So many great opportunities here at 22nd
Yeah,
Street.
fishing is tremendous all over right now, too. Yeah.
Yeah, and this guy says wanted to hop on the Monte Carlo trip this afternoon with relatives, but wasn't sure if the boat was going out. I heard him just pull in, but
Call Tony.
yeah, let's say it's 1 o'clock, so I think they leave at 1. I think you're right. I don't hear him. I don't hear a bunch of people outside here, but I'm not sure. Yeah, call Tony. 310-832-8304 for 22nd Street Landing. So many great opportunities. We'll be on the Amigo later this fall. Can't wait for that. It was a 12:30 trip. So you were absolutely right to stay home. Nobody showed up for that one for some reason. And they've been picking away, like I said. They're catching a little bit more bass on these local trips. Half-day fishing, perfect to take kids on, right?
Sure. The weather looks like it's beautiful.
I know, right?
Yep. That's half the problem, you know. I mean, worrying about kids rocking around, getting seasick, and it's nice, you know. They could be in the galley chomping, doing a number on the hamburgers and all the goodies there.
Hey, Halibut Man says synonym for copious could be super abundant or ample. Those are two good ones. I don't know. Ample doesn't have the same punch that copious has for me. Super abundant, maybe.
We came from a different age. I mean, we used to just call it wide open.
Yeah, really. What the hell is this copious crap? That's for sure. When's your next trip? Do you have a trip on the horizon? I'm talking saltwater.
You know what? I don't feel. I don't. I'm gonna have to get on the whole. Get on the stick here.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna, let's say, we got a couple of trips, but I start bartending tomorrow
Oh yeah.
at the
you're
Orange
talking
County
about-
Fair.
we're talking about- yeah.
Till we start making millions of dollars at this
There you go.
podcast.
There you go.
And so I'll be out there. If anybody goes to the Orange County Fair, drop by the Baja Blues. Well, I shouldn't say that because I'm not sure where I'm going to be, but I've been there the last several years. I should be there making copious amounts of different drinks. So
Perfect.
super abundant tequila. Ample supplies of everything that you'll want there. It should be. Do you go to the Orange County Fair
We
ever?
go down there.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to make a move just to come see you.
Yeah, do
Now,
that.
Hey, look, we got 18 guys back.
I know.
Hey.
Yeah. They've
all
all-
right.
And we got new
Those
guys.
questions coming, folks.
We got new guys. Yeah, if you have a question for Danny, we've already done kind of part 1 to this show, and then we had some technical difficulty. So if you have a question for Danny, now's your chance to ask. I think Tony might come back with some stuff that's going on here at 22nd Street Landing, but for sure you have the Monte Carlo fishing half day, the Native Sun fishing, the Pursuit. I left the Pursuit off. John Widrum will be here in a second to kick my butt if leaving him out of this. So Pursuit always puts in a huge amount of effort when they go to Catalina Island. They fish really hard over there. So really good stuff here at 22nd Street Landing. What does Danny's t-shirt say? Ask Steve Bermudez.
I was looking on, Steve, I was just looking at the frame up on it, and what it says is, here, Phil can tell you, I don't know if you can see it.
Hold on, let's see. Maybe I can move this camera and catch it. How's that, Steve?
Yeah, we got this at the,
School is important, but fishing is importanter. Yes, I like it.
You guys got that, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Important.
That'll make a great deal of sense to Steve Bermudez, let me tell you. There it is. What do you say, Steve? We have no request here that we will not honor. Do you ever do surf fishing? I don't think so, right?
I used to.
Yeah.
I used to. Not so much anymore. Yeah.
It's been flat wide open over in my
That's
place.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sitting there doing the morning briefing. I'm looking at it like,
I
man.
see the rods.
You see those guys behind
yeah,
me?
The stakes all over the place. It had to be good.
You know what's funny about that? When I go back, I rewatch the show so I can, when I edit, I cut in.
Yeah.
And I like, oh man, that guy's bit right now. You see the rod, and I go, oh, he doesn't even see it. So I can imagine what the audience is thinking, sitting at home, like, hey, you're bit. Get on that thing.
Hook up.
Excuse me. Steve Bermuda says T-shirt made specialty for LA school district graduates.
Yeah, good luck.
No
with
comment.
that. Things have changed nowadays. Yeah.
Tommy Tarr is one of the finest human beings you'll ever meet. The Fibbers Christian Club. Have you ever been over there to their
Yes, I've
meeting?
done
It's pretty
the
neat,
years,
right?
And I've done some seminars over the years with the groups and great people.
Great people, and they say
Absolutely.
Fibbers love Danny. Happy to see him back.
Yes.
They're great people.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I enjoy going over there and speaking. Whenever I do, I feel like it's a real special group of people who have their community in mind, and they're just, really good, wholesome people.
And that's also a group of people that if you want to take women, children,
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about
F-bombs or,
yeah,
Yeah.
and doing this to the kids because they're all they're all from a different how do I put it? I mean, just
a different idea of culture and of how civility, or right, or
the way we were initially taught. I mean, the only time I go beyond that is when I'm infuriated with certain things.
yeah.
I got to stay away from my politics. So.
No, you don't. Well, you might.
I don't want to reverse
You get us
back.
blacked out again. I'm sure that had nothing to do with it. Yeah, right. Good stuff. Yeah, hey, Tommy, good to see you here. As always, Tommy's a huge supporter of Friedman Adventures, always here and always a great guy. Steve Bermuda says, not special, just forgiven and blessed. We have a meeting tonight. Who's your speaker tonight, Steve? All right, so they have a meeting tonight. That's awesome.
Well, you can't beat a better club.
No.
It's wholesome. You don't have to worry. And then once again, that's where I encourage, if you got children and you want to start them out, you're already a step ahead because you're in a group of people that they've got their standards and they got, the same, well, I'm going to say it, the same beliefs I have.
Yeah.
And I highly endorse that.
Yeah, I don't even think you'd have to be Christian to go and enjoy that, though, because it's just a group of good people.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and the thing is, if you have young kids, you want to be professional. You don't want anybody, with the language and the content. And I think that's always the best way to go, honestly.
You have no idea how it's a pain for me when a guy catches a 200-pound bluefin tuna and you catch the moment and it's a dramatic moment and he drops 14 F-bombs.
I was just going to say.
And I'm like, you start to edit that out and it ruins the whole thing, but you leave it in. And I'm thinking, I got kids while coming to this channel.
Exactly.
And
Exactly. No,
then I don't know what to do, It's like, it's hard sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
I just
agree.
I say to him after I go, just cool with the F-bombs until I'm done filming, then let them rip, have at it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, I understand.
And I got a mouth on, when I'm off camera, I was raised as a deckhand. I grew up on the boats. And, you speak English and fluent profanity when you're a deckhand on these boats, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I get that, but there's also a time and a place for everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's, and a safe bet to be fishing with a group like that, too.
Yeah.
When you're introducing people to it, especially young people,
They have got a phenomenal speaker tonight. Scott from Taddy Lures, who wrote the book.
That's right.
Where, guess where that book was first introduced? On the Danny Kadota Show, right here. Scott Mason, right?
Yeah, Manson.
Manson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure Scotty's doing really well. I'm saying, and the amount of time that he expended and the research, my hat's off to Scott. It's phenomenal. I have my book and I will constantly go through it, but it's a tremendous source of information and history, particularly on jigs. Yeah.
Yeah, and Tommy Torre says same thing. Fibber speaker tonight is Scott Manson from Iserline. And that is one, I looked at that book and I go, there's an incredible amount of work that went into this thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very good. Steve Bermuda says, replace it with fight, 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 fight. We all know what that's reference to, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Frank Moreno says they can't hear you. What is going on here?
Oh, hello.
Is that better?
Is that better?
Is that better, Frank?
You hear me?
I mean, mics are all checking out here and everything.
Wow.
Frank?
Well, it's got maybe the transmission.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe. We're going to hang in here for a little bit longer, everybody.
Okay.
For some reason, we've had some technical difficulties. Frank Moreno's a great guy, by the way. Comes over to our surf fishing events all the time.
Awesome.
Any other questions, folks? Fire them in here. AJ, who's down in Mexico, says, we can hear Danny.
Wow.
Hey, maybe it's you, Frank. At least I can. So, yeah, nobody else is complaining. If you're having a problem hearing Danny, let me know. But when we went to come up with this new broadcast, we adjusted his mic and everything. And Steve Bermuda says, Danny's audio is a lot better than what it was when you started. Thank you so much.
Right. Thanks, Steve.
Because Steve's very critical all the time, so it must be
that's
good.
No, we need the input. That's all.
Not from Steve, we don't. Yeah, anybody else, we need the input, but not Steve. I'm kidding. Halibut Man, Danny, how was the Sierras? Any stories from your trip? Well, you might as well go back to it a little bit.
You know what? The whole thing was for the grandkids and our grandnieces and nephews. And it was actually tough. But, we made a decision, my brother and I, as far as two skippers, shows you what we know. We went to an area on Convict, which is on the east side of the lake, which is shallower. It's a more gradual slope. Generally, I fish the west shore because there's a quicker drop off. But because of the sake of ease, being able to drive in there with the kids and bringing in food and things like chairs and stuff, it was much more convenient going on the east side of Convict Lake. But we didn't catch. I mean, we picked a couple, but it's usually, when I fished on the west side over the years, we were, it's wide open. And I think, I'm not blaming the tackling. They had everything rigged. I stripped all the reels, put 2-pound Iser on, and used 2-pound fluoro. So, I mean, if anybody was going to get bit, I would think we would have gotten bit, But it's fishing, There's no guarantees in it. Fortunately, 2 of the grandkids, were able to catch fish, and that was a big part of it, It wasn't for us. It was, to get everybody involved that hadn't done the fishing. So it's, you don't know. It's fishing, not catching, and I got a taste of that. I don't like it, but that's part of it.
Exactly. All right. Doug Tilk says, Phil, do you know what Chuck E. Cheese Dan Lightfoot's birthday party is at? Yeah, I think it's in Milwaukee. He's there for the Republican National Convention. He went all the way out there. Yeah, that's funny, Doug. Daphne 7, any chance of Dorado coming back up to San Pedro this year? I like saying San Pedro because it gets people pissed that like San Pedro. Yeah, exactly. I missed it a couple years ago. Oh, who knows? They're starting to pick a few 100 miles below the border right now.
You just never know. I mean, I'm sorry, when they show up, they show up. But yeah, there's no reason for them not to, I mean, it's still what I would consider still pretty early in the summer, I mean, I think we're going to be fishing all this stuff through the fall.
Yeah.
So, I think it's gonna gravitate up. Who knows? We just don't know.
Let me check something here.
Oh.
Yeah, Danny's mic is good.
Oh.
I don't know.
You got
Everybody's.
it in now. It was.
Some
oh,
people are
nice.
some people are saying it's no good. Some people are saying it's good. I don't know what to tell you guys. I see his mic. It looks like it's fine. I don't see any flashing lights. It's blue. It's registering here on the blah blah meter here.
So, we'll have to do like Saturday Night Live, Phil.
Yeah.
This is for the hearing impaired. Do you remember?
I do remember that.
Yeah, but no, who knows? That's one thing about the technical part of this. That's why, thank God, Phil's here.
Yeah, right. That's why it's all screwed up.
Yeah.
All right, Frank, we're working on it. Doug Tilk says, I can see and hear you both. I guess that's a blessing. Yeah, some people might say that. And Doug Tilk is saying, Mackey's out fishing, Doug. Sorry about that. Steve Bermudez, but is Danny's mic on? It seems like the audio is bouncing off the walls. I don't know. It should be on. I don't know what to tell you. Mine is Danny's, yeah.
It's coming in on your mic. So,
Yeah. Here, I'm going to look
How's
one more
that?
time. Yeah,
is it clear now?
it's perfect, man. It should
All
be.
right.
I don't know what to tell you. All right, Tommy Tar, how far from port can the San Diego all-day boats go? Those guys go like 45 miles sometimes. You know that?
Well,
They go a long way. Those full-day guys that leave in the morning.
full day guys. I can remember doing 90 miles.
No, but I mean, these guys leave at 5 a.m. and come back at that
yeah.
night.
Okay.
That's what he's talking about.
Okay, all day. Oh, no,
40.
See, we were overnight boats.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and
That's a long
90
way.
miles doesn't give you much time when you
No.
you consider getting back home at a certain time. You got to be back at 11.
Yeah.
By 11, and before then, if it's every so many days when we fuel, so you have to back it up depending on the boat capacities and everything. So
Right, right.
that has a lot to do with it.
If those guys zig instead of zag, they're in trouble, man. I'm amazed they can catch fish on such a consistent basis.
When you're going the distance, you better be dialed in. You better be locked into a spot that's up and biting. Yeah, because it's tough. You don't have time to look. Especially if you're going that type of distance. In the 60-mile range, there's a lot of looking around that you can do. But when you're running the distance, when you're getting down to a spot that's 90 miles, you better be dialed in. They better be up and foaming when you get there.
All right, Halibut Man says, I've got the same pressure lying on me this weekend. I have a group from Arizona coming down, and we are going to fish Avalon for the day to slay some fish. Best of luck to you, Mitchell. Let's see, Tuna Kid. Hey, good to see you. Hey, gentlemen, good afternoon and happy Thursday. So cool to see Michael out there catching those yellowtail, heading to Catalina on our boat this weekend. Best of luck to you, Cat, man. You should have some great calico bass fishing, and hopefully you pick off a yellow or two. Yeah, it was great. Michael and Ethan Parcells, couple kids out there, just putting the wood to those nice kelpetta yellowtail. And they're big ones,
awesome.
man. They're nice fish.
Yeah. So Michael, he's got to be in the clouds.
Yeah, totally.
I love it.
Yeah, he's man.
I love it.
His grandpa's a good guy, man.
Yep.
I mean, he takes good care of Michael, and
Absolutely.
Michael's a good kid. Well, I don't see another question up there, and since I have managed to screw up all the technical stuff,
Well, we popped out another 27 minutes.
yeah, heck,
All
man.
right.
I think
we're legit now.
we're up to over an hour and a half or so.
There we
So,
go. We're getting in our realm. That's cool.
Danny, always good to see you.
Phil, thank you. Good talking to all you folks. Save it up and next Thursday, I guess.
No, because
wait, you're
we're
right.
gonna
Yeah,
switch to
well,
either
you're-
Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, you're on your fair schedule.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So we'll do. I gotta work it out
Check
with the.
in. Phil will have it.
I gotta check with the boss and see when I'm gonna do something with her, and then you're gonna come in second to her this time.
Well, yeah.
The future,
Well, it should be.
the future American citizen. My wife Ruth is gonna get her citizenship.
That's so awesome.
I'm so happy. Finally.
Congratulations for me too. Yes.
Yeah, I remember when I said to her maybe 5 years ago, I said, hey, when we first met, how much of our, future relationship depended on you becoming an American citizen? And she looked me straight in the eyes of like 5 years ago and said, I am still not an American citizen. What are you talking about? 30 years after we've been married. So
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm so proud of
Oh,
her.
that's
She's
awesome.
finally going to do it.
That's awesome.
She was worried about taking the test, and I finally convinced her. I go, Ruth, you can do this. So now the funny thing is, I send her videos. The people in the university, they'll ask them, what is the supreme law of the land? And she'll say, like in 2 seconds, the U.S. Constitution. And these kids that are going to Harvard don't know the answer to it. And I sent her that to reinforce her. Hey, you know more about. And she's like,
How true is that about a lot of stuff?
I'll say one more thing that really hit me the other day when she was watching some of the stuff that's going on in the news and everything. She said something to the effect of, what's happening with my country? She's starting to call this place her country. And that hit me really hard.
If she's embraced it enough to go through all that for citizenship, God bless her. I mean, she's doing it the right way.
Yeah, that really hit me that she's
And
like
she can
feeling that
appreciate
now.
all that.
Yeah.
She really understands. Where there's many that are born here that don't appreciate it at all.
Right. This is like a huge deal. It makes me think about that, like how people think that being an American citizen is no big deal, and then when you have somebody from another country, they see it as a huge big deal.
Yeah.
Even though it took her 30 years to do
Well,
it.
that's right. She did it. She did it the right way. That's all.
I'm probably jinxing her test is coming up here in a few weeks. Hey, thank you, Steve. Ruth appreciates it. AJ, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Danny, appreciate you, my friend. Thanks
You got it, bud.
for another great show here.
All right. Signing off, folks. Have a good week. Be safe.
All right, take care, everybody.